Namaskara and welcome to a village story. One woman's journey from city chaos to village calm. I am Akshata and this podcast is my journey from the noise of the city to the stillness of the soil. Through honest reflections, everyday moments, and raw emotions, I will take you along as I navigate life in a small village, from marrying a farmer to rediscovering what truly matters. Whether you're someone dreaming of a slower life or simply looking to feel a little more grounded, you are in the right place. So grab a cup of chai, settle in, and let's begin. It is September, and in South India, the festive season begins to bloom. The celebrations start with the worship of Goddess Lakshmi and continue all the way through to the grand festival of lights, Deepavali. It is that time of the year when homes are scrubbed and cleaned and then decorated, new clothes are worn, delicious treats are prepared, families gather, and the air feels charged with joy, devotion, and renewal. When I first arrived in the village in 2017, I was still grappling with questions of faith. I approached temples with skepticism, head held high, my ego unbent, and my scientific reasoning firmly in control. Worship seemed distant, a ritual that I could not easily embrace. Over the years, I have become the strongest supporter of the theory that life unfolds exactly at the page we need, not what we want. Coming to rural India was all about being shown a whole new chapter about faith and divinity. The initial days were quite humorous while I got used to the rural ways of worship. Let me take you back to where it all began. Our village is blessed with its own guardian goddess, Satnelamma. Her temple sits by the village lake, quiet yet powerful, as if she watches over us with a protective gaze. The belief is that she safeguards the entire village, listening to the troubles and joys of her people. Every Tuesday, she visits the village by possessing the body of a young man from the village, allowing him to speak her words and hear the concerns of those who come seeking guidance. One such Tuesday, my husband and I were walking to the farm when we came across a lanky woman in a big rush. Without stopping, she quickly asked my husband for the time and anxiously inquired whether the goddess would have arrived by now. That is when I realized how far and wide devotees come seeking her counsel, not just for blessings, but for guidance and help in their everyday struggles. Now, let's turn to the young man through whom the Devi expresses herself. He is barely in his 20s, shy, soft spoken, and gentle by nature. I had crossed paths with him many times before. Each time he would lower his eyes and quietly walk past, head bent in modesty. But when I visited the temple on a Tuesday to pay my respects, the same boy stood before me, and I could hardly recognize him. The boy I thought of as meek had transformed into someone entirely different. He radiated an immense strength, stood fearless, and commanded attention effortlessly. His presence was magnetic. His words spoken with such authority that we all instinctively bowed our heads in reverence. The temple itself is small and simple. maintained by a group of men from the village known as the Gudigaudas. These men are chosen by the Devi herself to serve her, and they are expected to accept both her blessings and her fierce temper. Our Devi is known for being fiery and spirited, never holding back. She carries lemons and neem leaves, symbols of her power, and blesses her devotees with them. Her love is as nurturing as a mother's embrace, but her wrath is not something one would wish for. During the annual festival, she holds a whip in her hand and uses it on the spot for anyone who dares disobey her commands. There are many, many instances when she has made me believe in her presence. Too many that this episode will not suffice. But let me share one particular incident that rattled my bones. It happened during one of the annual festivals when my scientific mind, so used to questioning everything, stood still in awe. The Ratha is brought to the very entrance of the village and is beautifully decorated with garlands of vibrant flowers. Before it can move, offerings of rice must be made to each of its four wheels. The tradition is such that this rice has to be carried from my husband's house on one's head, walking barefoot the entire way to the Ratha. That year, the honor was bestowed upon me. I was asked to carry a massive vessel filled with around 10 kilograms of cooked rice on my head and walk barefoot for nearly 300 meters. For someone who had never even balanced a small pot on her head, let alone something so heavy, I was terrified. Just a few hours before the ritual, my dear friend Gaurama called me. With a calm but firm voice, she said, "Akka, just remember the Devi. She will give you all the strength you need. You won't feel the weight at all." Her words stayed with me. When the moment arrived, I closed my eyes, surrendered to the Devi, and placed my trust in her. My husband hoisted the huge vessel onto my head, and with trembling steps, I began walking barefoot towards the Ratha. To my amazement, I did it. I carried that vessel all the way without feeling the burden. After the offerings were made and the Devi was taken around the village amidst drums, chants, and cheers, she was brought back to the temple with great pomp and celebration. Later, each household prepared a special dish as an offering to her. That year, I cooked nati chicken sambar using produce from our own farm along with mudde and rice. At 11 p.m., all the women sat in front of the temple, offerings laid out before us. We placed our food respectfully, and then, as one community, we shared and ate together. The experience was surreal. An overwhelming sense of belonging, devotion, and gratitude that words can barely capture. And as if to seal the memory forever, something happened afterward. Like the cherry on top of the most unexpected spiritual journey, an experience I will never forget. On this special day, the Devi is joined by her elder sister, who also praises another man with her presence. The two possessed men, transformed by divine energy, walk out together towards the thorny shrub behind the temple. At first glance, it looks more like a wild fortress than a plant. The thorns are nearly 1.5 inches long, thick, sharp, and unforgiving. The shrub itself has grown tall and sprawling, reaching up to 15 or even 20 feet. What happened next left me utterly flabbergasted. The two men, bare chested, wearing nothing but simple orange lungis, began climbing the shrub using only their hands and feet. The plant did not look sturdy like a tree. Instead, it appeared fragile, its branches twisting unnaturally under the weight of even a light touch. And yet, with astonishing ease and fluidity, they scaled it. I watched in disbelief as both men reached the top, balanced themselves, and began to dance on those monstrous thorns. Their feet, bare and vulnerable, seemed unaffected by the sharp edges that would surely pierce the skin of any ordinary person. The entire village stood breathless, unable to look away. This ritual isn't just spectacle, it is sacred tradition. Every year, our Devi stands atop the shrub to forecast the village's future. That year, she warned of a coming challenge, one that would test the strength and unity of the entire community. Her message, delivered from the precarious heights of thorns and defiance, struck deep into the hearts of everyone present. After about 20 minutes of this breathtaking performance, both sisters gracefully descended the thorny shrub, moving with the same poise and strength with which they had climbed. The next morning, I returned to the temple, unable to shake off the disbelief. I went straight to the shrub and inspected the thorns up close. And trust me, those monstrous thorns were no exaggeration. They had the power to pierce feet completely, embedding deep enough to cause serious injury. The fact that the men had danced atop them without harm left me speechless. Standing there the next morning, fingers brushing against those sharp, unforgiving thorns, I was overcome with a sense of reverence. What I had witnessed the previous night wasn't an illusion or blind faith. It was a profound reminder that there is a power that logic alone cannot explain. The Devi's presence, fierce yet compassionate, rooted in traditions older than memory, taught me that faith isn't about abandoning reason. It is about allowing something greater to guide you when reason reaches its limits. That experience changed the way I see the world. I still ask questions, still seek understanding, but now I bow my head not out of blind obedience, but out of respect for the unseen forces that shape our lives, our communities, and our courage. Before I sign off, I want to leave with a small tip. Sometimes the greatest strength we need isn't in our muscles or knowledge. It is in surrendering to something larger than ourselves. When fear rises, trust the process, trust the community, and trust that unseen forces can carry you through the impossible. If you're going through your own season of fear, take a moment to pause. Look within. You will find your faith quietly waiting there, sometimes buried deep beneath doubts and uncertainties. Gently uncover it, hold on to it, and surrender to the higher forces that have always been guiding and protecting you, even when you couldn't see them. May you discover your own place of faith and surrender, where courage awakens and power flows from within. Thank you for walking this journey with me, for listening, for feeling, and for holding space for this story. If this episode spoke to you, I would love to hear your thoughts. Please drop a comment. Until then, keep breathing through your own seasons of change. Namaste and take care.